From the National Newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm Karen Rebo. Former captives and relatives of hostages held since the October 7th attack by Hamas in southern Israel are visiting the International Criminal Court today. They're in The Hague to urge prosecutors to charge and seek the arrest of leaders of the militant group. The visit is the latest step in efforts by Israelis to seek justice for victims of the attacks, in which about 1,200 people, mostly civilians, were killed and about 250 were taken hostage. But the second time in 2 weeks, Ukraine's military has said it has sank a Russian vessel in the Black Sea. Ukrainian forces said today it sank a Russian landing ship using naval drones near Alupka, a city on the southern edge of the Crimean Peninsula that Moscow annexed in 2014. The report has not been confirmed by Russian forces. Several top executives from BCE and Bell Media have been invited to testify before a Commons committee later this month over the company's recent decision to cut 9% of its workforce this year.
BCE, the parent company of Bell Media, announced last week it is cutting its workforce by 4,800 positions, ending multiple television newscasts and selling off 45 of its 103 radio stations. The House of Commons Heritage Committee has agreed to invite BCE CEO Mirko Bibic to address the cuts, which include impacts on newsrooms across the country. The Liberal motion to invite the executives on February 29th was supported by the NDP and Bloc Québécois, with the Conservatives on the committee abstaining from voting. The company blames its cuts on the federal government and the CRTC, saying Ottawa took too long to provide relief to media companies in crisis. Nicole Reese, the Canadian Press.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says Monday night's protest outside a downtown Toronto hospital was a reprehensible display of anti-Semitism. Toronto police say they are investigating several incidents that took place during the march route and at the demonstration outside Mount Sinai Hospital, a facility founded by the Jewish community in the city. Ontario Premier Doug Ford also criticized the protest, calling it terrible that hospital workers or visitors could have been prevented from going in.
I don't care what you're protesting. That doesn't matter. You want to protest? Go to City Hall, come down to Queen's Park, jump up and down, do whatever you want. But don't prohibit people going into a hospital when they're in there saving people's lives.
Ford also noted the protest was illegal, citing a federal law enacted in 2021 amid anti-COVID mandate protests that prohibits people from intentionally blocking access to healthcare facilities or intimidating healthcare workers. New York Democrat Tom Suozzi has won that special election for the U.S. House seat formerly held by the indicted and expelled Republican Congressman George Santos. And Prince Harry and his wife Meghan Markle plan to spend Valentine's Day in Whistler, BC today, attending a training camp 1 year ahead of Harry's 2025 Invictus Games. This is the Canadian Press. In sports, there are 3 games in the NHL tonight, including one in Winnipeg, where the Jets will host the San Jose Sharks. Last night, Bobby McMahon, inserted into Toronto's lineup in the afternoon due to the absences of an ill Mitch Marner and John Tavares and a suspended Morgan Rielly, responded in a big way by scoring 3 times as the Maple Leafs beat the visiting St. Louis Blues 4-1. Another highlight of last night's games included Connor McDavid getting 6 assists as the Edmonton Oilers won their 8th straight game at home by beating the Detroit Red Wings 8-4. Brady Tkachuk had 3 goals to help the Ottawa Senators beat Columbus 6-3. There are 13 games in the NBA tonight, including one in Toronto, where the struggling Raptors, coming off Monday's loss to the lowly San Antonio Spurs, will host former teammate Pascal Siakam and the Indiana Pacers. From the Canadian Press, I'm Karen Rebo.